Alright, so I'm going to make a quesadilla tonight on flatbread that I'm going to make. And I'm going to use all the stuff from my gardens, indoor gardens, and show you some other cool things. I'll show you how to make the cheese, the bread, and the quesadilla, and go over some gardening stuff real quick. But before I get the meal together, because I always prepare my salad, throw it in the fridge while I get the rest of the stuff going. So I got 2 small heads of lettuce here that I cut. I got some basil. This is non-GMO organic from seed, and same thing with this basil. These are mini peppers. The package had yellow, orange, and red. Right now they are oranging. Yesterday they were yellow. This one, I don't know what happened here. Not the color, but the ridge. So I picked this one. The rest of them, remember, these are mini guys. The rest of them are either green right now or starting to turn orange. And I'm going to show you the setup real quick so you can get inspired. And that was non-GMO and organic. I had 2 different packs over the month, so I don't know what one it was. But one pack I think was, maybe they both were just organic, and I seeded them. And then I have a big pepper plant I'll show you, which was non-GMO organic also. It was both of them, and that was also from the store. So this and the big peppers were from the store, and I ate them and seeded them, and that's what you're going to see. And you're going to see this too. This is going to go in my quesadilla. So these tomatoes right here, to show you, they're called Campari tomatoes. I had to look it up to see what they were about. So from this company that I got online, Thrive Market, I had bought these, and I had bought grape tomatoes. The grape tomatoes were non-GMO and organic. These are just organic, but here's my version. So I ate these from the store like a month ago, maybe a couple months ago. And now I'm growing these, and as you can see, they're very comparable sizes. I pulled this one off the vine a little early to see if it will help support the other ones to get to that size and to grow, instead of, keeping this on there, stressing the energy. So that's another thing I want to show you to do. So little bell peppers, big bell peppers, grape tomatoes, Roma tomatoes, and these Campari tomatoes. Now I think these are genetically modified from a cherry tomato to be slightly larger, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's what it is. So a cherry tomato would be like half the size it is. And so the Roma tomato was from my store, which was non-GMO and organic, and they're in the process of growing. They haven't flowered or fruited yet. And I ate those and seeded those for the last year and a half, so maybe even 2 years now. And I'm just, I'm not a pro at this. I just started doing this on my own. All right, so I wanted to share that with you. So you can do it from seed, or you can, buy it. Like this is just organic. You can get non-GMO and organic, both in this or in seed, and do it yourself. So let's see, there's that. There's the bread. The quesadilla is going to be probably, it is going to be with some red orange pepper, or yellowish orange pepper, basil. These are red onion scapes. I'll show you them in a second. And chicken, which is going to be this guy right here, young jackfruit. That means it's immature jackfruit, so it's not sweet or anything like that. All right, so I started using my lettuce about a week ago. That's why there's some empty spaces to the left. There's like some sort of like purpley romaine type stuff. It won't get full purple like I have in another plant. And these are just regular romaine. I had the best one 2 nights ago. I cut it. It was like as wide as this and like as tall as those. In the back it was like 8 to 10 inches tall leaves. It was great. So this is inside. So I cut that one over here for dinner tonight. That's garlic growing. So those green things are scapes. I called them like leaves or stems, but they're called scapes. Random sunflower growing in there. So there's like all kinds of stuff you can grow. I'm not going to go over everything, but there's herbs, and there's cucumbers, and there's baby peppers again getting going. Strawberries. I cut this basil. I just cut this guy. They were both the same age. Then this one, after several months, is seeding now, and this one decided to start growing back again, probably for like the 3rd time, so that's cool. And then there's a little baby guy growing. Here's some Roma tomatoes getting going, and then Brussels sprouts and some more tomatoes, and some herbs and stuff are in here, and some more Brussels sprouts and grape tomatoes. And here's the onion scapes I use. So hold on, kids are yelling and screaming. So this red onion was organic, and I couldn't get to them in time from the bag, so they put one of these green things up, and now I've cut, you can see where I cut them over the last week, and then that thing's gonna flower. Apparently it's gonna flower. It's the first time I ever did this. So the onion will deteriorate and grow a flower, and the flower will grow seeds. In the meantime, you can cut this. It's mild tasting compared to the onion itself, which is really good to know because I like that. I like that a lot, so that's why I'm using that tonight. And then, like I said, you could do the same thing with garlic. So this is on my balcony. I am on a 2-bedroom, second floor apartment, so you guys can do this. I have 4 of those stands in my house, and then I do the balcony. These are usually indoors. Sometimes they come outdoors. You can see them green, 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 and then some colored ones. Sorry, I'm going fast. I'm just kind of getting the idea of how cool it is to clip them and eat what you need. Sorry about that. Celery. There's some of the tomato plants growing. Here's the Campari right here. It's putting out flowers over there. And this guy is putting out stuff here. I cut the big one from over where the other one is, so the other ones will hopefully grow. And what else is out here as far as food goes? Oh, here's social garlic. So it hasn't stemmed and flowered in the last 2 years, but the first 2 or 3 it did. And you can eat every part of it, the flowers too. It's social garlic because it's not that strong. And some rosemary growing, and some basil started again, and some cilantro. I'm going to show this because if you know what it is, let me know. So it's got one over here and then another small one behind, and then this giant one. I had cut this down and about 8 months ago, and it grew back, so it reached the ceiling, and then I cut it, and now it's still flowering. It's been flowering for like the last 3 to 4 months, and now this thing here is new. So this branch right there is new, but these are the flowers. If anybody knows what they are, let me know. I don't know. So over here is that giant bell pepper plant I was telling you about from the large non-GMO organic ones that I bought from the store. There's some more garlic scapes. So like when I opened a giant bulb of garlic and I didn't get to it, 2 of them started to sprout. So when they start sprouting, they'll flower as well. Wild mint from the mountains, and then a whole bunch of cilantro. Sorry if you can't see that well. That I cut, and it's flowering now, so it'll produce some seeds, which is good. 153 total strawberries. A year and a half ago I had 6, now I have 153, and that's not counting about 6 or 7 that I just gave away to the neighbors. Alright, so that's a red potato, and they should be done soon. Again, I sprouted red organic potatoes. Here are another giant pepper plant, and I'll let them go to red. That's how I seeded them, from red. And there's a couple in there. Now the bad thing that you don't see about this pepper plant, and there's a little guy, there's 4 with the potential of 6. So last week, the first time that I really ever did this, I've been trying this for a year and a half, the indoor gardening. And I always check them before I go to bed and when I go out and everything, and it looked like it had plenty of water. And I came back and they were drooping. I thought it was dead. So when you're seeing now, it looks so beautiful, right? But it dropped all the flowers. There was going to be like 40 peppers. Obviously, they'll drop flowers and they make a lot more anyway, and they drop without making them on their own. But I lost probably a good 15 to 20 that probably would have produced. So don't do that, because although the plant will recover, apparently will drop the flowers. So I have like potential of 6. I see 3 big ones, 1 little guy growing already, and 2 flowers that made it. Although it looks like it's starting to regrow some stuff, so who knows. Now here's another thing I'll tell you real briefly. When this is done and exhausted its peppers, I'll clip it. Not fully, but I'll clip about 1/4 of it, and it will grow and start regrowing. But it will only produce a handful or less, but it's worth it. Instead of throwing it out, it will do it again. It will regrow. And like I said, the strawberries and some leftover cucumbers, another garlic, little, I don't know what you call them, a clove, I guess. A clove, and then the bulb is the big thing. And a carrot that's still there, not ready to go yet. Giant leaf, giant something celery. I cut it when I need it. Matter of fact, this one I busted into, so I got to cut that. I guess it will still make it, but there's some basil behind there as well. I love it because I don't need to let it grow mature. I clip it as I need it, and you only have to cut it once. You don't have to dice it up, and it still tastes exactly the same. Some giant parsley as well, and some more mint over there. And this is where I started with the strawberries, 6 of them. And now I have 153 of them. And anytime you see vines, they're the babies that are growing. So like this guy right here has got to be potted again. And there's actually 5 plants in there because I ran out of pots, so I had to stick them in there. And this is what it looks like in case you've never seen the berries. And then they turn to berries, and then I should have some growing that you can see those. And let's see, any colored ones? I thought there were some colored ones. Here's some colored ones down here. And here's one that's almost ready to go there. So they're fun. You know, you can get a handful at a time for your salads or desserts or whatever you want. So real quickly, I will just tell you that the lights are 2 feet long and they're 40-watt grow lights. They are blue and red spectrum from start to finish, or seed to fruit. They're GE. They're white light, but they are red and blue spectrum. I like the white light better. They're only 2 feet long on a 3-foot rack. Walmart online. The shelving is called Hyper Tough. It's like total tax and shipping would be $60 for one shelving system. 5 adjustable shelves, white and chrome or black. So you can fit it. Like I said, I'm in a 2-bedroom, 2nd floor apartment, and it works. And when you buy your stuff, whether you buy online food or you buy at your grocery store, and you get organic and non-GMO when it comes to the different tomatoes, the different size peppers, or potatoes to sprout, or garlic or onion, you can do what I'm doing. And don't forget to eat these as they grow. Don't cut them all down. Use like 1 or 2 from each one and each side, and they'll keep regrowing, because you want it to flower so you get seeds to make onions, you know, to have full-size onions. All right? So I wanted to share that with you. So once again, I bought this pack just a week ago. I think there was, 2, 4, 6, 8. I think there was 10 of them in here. And from a pack I bought a couple months ago, I grew my own. Matter of fact, here's the one from last night. Look at how many seeds are in there from just one of these guys. So you can do that, and then you save yourself $5 or $6 that I paid for that. All right. Plus this plastic. They stopped taking these. I think they call them clamshells. So even though it says it's recyclable, and I put it in the bin, they'll take it out and throw it in the regular garbage. So that's another good thing about growing your own food. You don't have to buy plastic or any weird crap that can't be recycled. And it's so cool and fresh to eat like this. Don't worry, the video won't be that long, because to tell you how to make the cheese and the bread is simple, and I'm just going to show you the quesadilla, how simple it is. All right, but isn't that awesome to do? Obviously that's not tonight, but that will come from the store. Garden, 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 and garden. All right, and sort of homemade. All right, let's get going on the rest of this. All right, so real quickly here, I cut that piece I told you about because see how it cracked, so I didn't want it to like get rotten. So I'm not going to use it tonight, but instead of putting it in a bag or chopping it up or anything, all different things I've done over the years, I'm going to show you what works the best. So here's some parsley that's been in there probably a week, and as you can see, it has not lost any of its freshness. And I used this, I just stuck that back in there for heck, it's not going to do anything, but I cut the tops off. And then I do this with the celery as well. So when I want to use this in salad or whatever I'm making, it will stay nice and fresh. It doesn't do well in the refrigerator. Even store-bought celery, it gets rubbery real fast. Wrap it, put it in the bin or whatever you do, or cut it up in a jar. If you cut it up and put it in a container, it actually works better than keeping it whole. But this will last 1-2 weeks without any problems. Amazing, right? We got to be like plants. Be like a plant, you'll stay healthy and fresh. Alright, so here's what the jackfruit looks like. So I smush it down, I'll tell you in a second. So it's more cube-like, but as you can see, it looks like chicken, and you shred it. So you open the can. What I do is I open the can a little bit, pour out all the water. It's water, salt, and lime, and then I fill it back up once or twice, and then I keep dumping it out that way. That way you don't have to use a colander and strain it, because it could get sticky in there, and then it's kind of a pain in the butt to clean. So that's how I do it. It's simple. And then I put it on here or a plate. First I lay some paper towels down. I throw them down. I get some more paper towels, and I squeeze as much water and everything out as you can. All right. That's just the way I like to do it. So when you put it in the pan with oil, it doesn't go sparkling all over the place. And I just like to get all the water out of it. It's really nice and tender. It has a very bland taste to it, so it doesn't taste like fruit. Okay. And again, here's the brand. And it's like non-GMO, organic, and all that other good stuff. I do one meal a day, so this is my meal today. It's a little bit later than usual. It's around 8 o'clock or 8:30. And non-GMO, organic, vegan, alkaline, and raw as possible. Make my own food as much as I can, and grow my own food the past year and a half in this apartment, which is really cool. Now, this isn't non-GMO. I didn't know that at first. Once I bought them, I used 2 tomatoes, by the way, and you can see the seeds. I didn't know until afterwards that these are genetically modified from a cherry tomato. The good news is there are good things to do with modification of plants. There's just a really bad rap because, and it should have a bad rap, Monsanto and companies like that, that purposely make things where they're genetically modifying them with no concern really for the health of the food, whether it loses like nutrients or not, but like to be able to make it so-called resistant or not to be able to reseed itself, so the chemical companies can come in and use all their pesticides and stuff like that. That's just the brief way to describe it. There's more to it than that. That is a really not good way, and that causes a lot of damage to other plants in the areas that as they all pollinate together and evolve together. But that's like the basics. So something like this, that somebody comes in and says, okay, let's make a cherry tomato bigger, or whatever the reasons are, and it keeps the nutrients, it keeps the life cycle, it keeps the harvest, it keeps seeding so you can continue to use seeds and stuff. There's good things that can be done. When it's done in a negative way and for profit and money, well, that's where it's no good for nature and it's no good for human beings. And real briefly here, so what I'll do is I'll take a knife and I'll cut the seed, I'll scrape the seeds off, and I'll lay them all flat around here, and I'll take the pulpy part out of the tomato away from there, and it will dry overnight. Then I just take my knife like this and I just kind of slide it across the board and let them dry the rest of the way like you see here. And as you can see, they all come apart. Sometimes they'll stick. You can even plant them if they stick together. They'll just look funky growing in different directions like a V, but it still works. But that's how I do it. It's simple and easy. You can strain them and do whatever else you want. All right, so I'm going to show you the the chicken on the stove now, quote unquote chicken. The rest of it goes in a Tupperware, and you put it in the fridge. So I got this. I put it on like 3. I warmed it up just to get it a little crispy in certain areas. I threw a couple pieces of pepper and a couple pieces of onion in there to get it some flavor and everything. And you use as much as you want and get it as crisp or as tender as you want, whatever you want to do with it. I'm just going to put this on low now and cover it and let it sit there. And that's it. All right, oil in the pan. I'm going to put it on probably 5. It's an electric stove, 5. And get it hot, and then that's how the bread's going to go. So now I'm going to show you how to make the bread. Okay, so I got this Bob's bread, and it's malted barley and wheat and stuff. Here's the ingredients. If it doesn't focus, you can go online and find it. My camera's hit or miss. So obviously, if you can't have gluten, then you can't have this. 1 second here. There you go. It's excellent tasting bread. Like I said in my other videos, I use other kind of flours that are in containers that I can recycle, because I only try to buy what can be recycled. This is like the only bag I know, or one of the only bags that can be sent back to this TerraCycle to recycle. I haven't done it yet, but I checked it out ahead of time that you can do it. These kind of bags here do not do that. My other flours like oat flour, bean flour, rice flour, I just can't get that great bready taste, like, you know, like bread, not bread like in sliced bread, but bread as in Italian loaf bread and stuff like that. It has a nice flavor like that. So I got to find something so I don't have to buy this bag, because this bag can't be recycled and bothers me. I switched and I finally found this, because I found it the first time I tried this powder, I'll explain in a minute, in like one of those foil bags, and I found it in this. It's a number 1, so it can be recycled. Same thing with that. All right, so with the bread, depending on what size family you want, so I got 1.5 cups of flour. I can make like 2 good size pieces of bread to make this quesadilla. It's just salt and pepper and a little bit of baking powder in there. That's it. just a little bit to the taste. The baking powder, you can kind of see it just sprinkled on there. You just put water in until it's a pancake type batter. I'm going to show you. If you want a flatbread, then you only put it in to where it's like doughy. Well, I'll show you. I'll show you both of them. I'll get it to the point, and then I'll get it past that. When you make a quesadilla or something you want to fold over, you're going to make it thinner. You're going to make it more watery, like pancake batter. If you want it like tearing bread, where it's rising up, you want it a little bit on the thicker side. I'll show you. It's real simple. So if you got a family and you want to feed like make 4 quesadillas or something, then I would suggest probably using like 3 cups of flour. All right? All right, so if you just wanted to make a nice bread, or for pizza, you want it to have like that kind of pull to it still. You just add water until it starts to pull like that. Now, if I let this sit for 5 minutes or less, it will start to look like dough. It will literally look like I kneaded dough, and you'll have to like really work at it to get it back to this, or add a little bit more water to it. That's why I love this flour. It's amazing, whatever it is. I think it might be the malted barley that does that. I don't know. But since I want to make it thin and I want to spread it easy on the pan, I'm going to add a little more water to that, and because I don't want a quesadilla. I've done this before, and I don't want a half-inch thick quesadilla where I roll it over and flip it, and it's like a quarter to half-inch thick on each side. You know, it just doesn't go over that well. It tastes great and everything, but I want it smaller and more compact. All right, I don't know if I said it, but there's olive oil in there and a little bit of salt and pepper. And then, like I said, a little onion and a little regular pepper, the yellow one. I added a little more chicken in there as well, and I'm going to heat it up a little bit. All right, so I added some water to that, so you can see it comes off a little bit easier. And you got to keep stirring it, so it's something you got to do fast because it will solidify. And now it will be easier to pour. I just pour it. I tested the oil. Maybe it should have been a little bit hotter, but just pour it any way you want, center, and then spread it out. Or I kind of dump it in like that, and then I take my spoon, a large spoon, and I go like that if I need to. All right, so probably go like 2-3 minutes, and then I'll flip it 2-3 minutes, then I'll prepare it, and I'll crimp it up, and then we'll go from there. All right, let's talk about the cheese, but first with the peppers, there you go. You got a lot of seeds. You got some seeds. Remember that part was the green part. So I can now plant them and grow more. All right, so the cheese is easy. I bought this mold for something else, but it worked out perfect for the cheese. Get yourself 15 ounces of water or non-dairy milk. It really doesn't matter that much at all. And put it in a blender. Get yourself Drive Market vegan Parmesan cheese, which is excellent, or your own shaker cheese. And put 4 tablespoons in the blender. Get yourself this Now Real Foods agar powder, recycling containers, number 1s, and put in 1.5 tablespoons. 4 tablespoons, 1.5 tablespoons, 15 ounces of water or non-dairy milk in a blender, salt and pepper to taste, and blend it up. Blend, 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 and blend. This time I did this, last time I didn't do it. I kind of just fluctuate, and it makes a slight difference. So if you want it a little bit more meltier, then use about a teaspoon to a teaspoon and a half of this arrowroot. Try it both ways. Try it without the arrowroot and try it with the arrowroot. So you blend it until it's nice and smooth. Get yourself a small pot and a whisk. Put it in a pan like I'm doing the bread, not a pan, a pot, and put it on 5, and then start whisking it for about 7 to 10 minutes until it starts slow boiling and slow bubbling, and keep whisking and whisking and whisking. That's going to activate the agar, which is a red algae, so it's all vegan. And you take it off, let it cool, you keep whisking and whisking it. Pour it into molds, this is silicone, or pour it into glass, whatever you want. And mine make these cool little shapes. And then that's it, you got cheese. What I do is, because they're silicone, I set it on here and I pour it in, and I throw it out right on the bottom of my fridge, and in 20 minutes it's solid and cold, and there's your cheese. It's that simple, and it's awesome. You could do it with nutritional yeast like the recipe called for, but that ain't going to taste good, I'm telling you right now. Get yourself this. This is great. You can get yourself what other kind of cheese they have, I don't know, but this stuff is excellent. All right? That's it. That's how simple the cheese is. And then what you do is take the rest of them and put them in a Tupperware, and they'll stay for a nice week or two. Now, or excuse me, just a week. The cheese and the bread. You can make the cheese with I've used fruit and jellies in it, basils in it, peppers in it, tomatoes in it, all kinds of stuff, nuts in it. It works great. With the bread, the same thing, different kinds of herbs, peppers, onions, garlic. I just made my bread plain because all this stuff is going in it. Sometimes I don't put anything in it, and I just make a bread for side salad, and I'll put like maybe garlic and or onion or sage and rosemary, stuff like that. For pizza crust, do it like I did tonight, but throw in dried oregano and it will taste like pizza crust. It's awesome. Just real briefly, I take 1 to 2 of these a day. They're green grass juices. There's all different kinds of grasses, and then veggies and herbs and stuff. Chocolate is good. Watermelon's all right. Tangerine down here is the best. I got lemon lime on its way and berry. They're both really, really good too. And spirulina is excellent. This is naturally occurring awesome vitamin B12, A, K, magnesium, and everything. We're talking like 200 to 300% on A, K, and B12. Look it up. It's called Nutrex Hawaii. Here's a different company. This is Garden of Life. Even though it doesn't want to really show you, it's Garden of Life. And this is a raw version, and it's just kind of like plant taste, I guess to say. Lettuce taste, plant taste. These are good because they're flavored. I usually mix half and half with that, or I mix half with either of the other ones. And I use about 1/8 to 1/4 teaspoon of this in my green grass juices. It's great to keep you alkaline, all right? So that's why you eat as raw as possible, to keep alkalinity. All right, real briefly here is 2 of my favorite companies. Chocolate and mocha, excellent. Peppermint, way too much peppermint, but you can still try it. Stay away from their vanillas. They're not good at all. Garden of Life, love this, the ingredients and everything in it. Chocolate, not bad, a little blah. This chocolate, excellent. Their vanilla, very good. Here's the list. You can go online. I'm just showing you to show you what's there compared to what's in here. All right? So there's a lot of good stuff in this. They make a raw version of this too. So chocolate and vanilla, I would say yes to on here. And Vega 1 is very expensive. The big guy I got to get, they were out of it. I got the little guy. It's like 9 or 10 servings. This is like 18 servings. Their bigger guy is like 28 servings. This is like $25. This is like $25. And that's 18, and that's only 9. But the taste is excellent, but I think that's a better product. So it's not just protein, it's vitamins, minerals. They're all in one shakes. All in one shake, so they call this a replacement meal. So I have one of those during the day, later in the afternoon, lots of water, then my one meal and the green grass juices. Alright, so a little thicker still than I wanted to, but I'm getting better at it. So now I'm going to try to flip this and press it down and get it so it doesn't fall out and all that. It might a little bit, but I wanted to show you how beautiful that is. Fresh from the garden. Alright, so a little bit better. A couple little things fell off the side, fell out, and I put them on my board over there. So, not bad. What would you call this thing? Just flatbread fold over? I call it quesadilla because it's folded over, but one day I'm going to get it perfect where it's thin enough to look like a true quesadilla, flour quesadilla, and where it won't start to break or crimp. The good thing is that I can press it down a little bit, crisp it on both sides. You can still make a nice cut in half or eat it whole, and it won't be that messy. All right, looks good though. So I got some leftover that I didn't put in there. So I'll either make another one tomorrow because I won't eat more than that, or I'll put it in my salad tonight. When you flip it, be careful either way, even if you're real good at it. I use a fork and a spatula. Boom, flipped it right over. Okay, fresh mint leaves from the garden that I showed you. Goes good with blueberries and grapefruit or any kind of citrus. I only put a little bit of the pepper on there. The tomato and a little basil. I might add a little extra basil. Oh, piece of onion. I might just throw that in some of the extra batter and make it into bread. I'll just use whatever's extra and maybe add other stuff into the bread and have the bread as a side dish tomorrow night or something like that. After both sides are crisp, I put it under here to help get the inside warm. Alright, looks good. Be careful with the cheese if it starts to ooze out a little bit when you cover it, or even without covering it, because it's made with water and stuff. It will start bubbling and splashing all over the place, so be careful with that. I gotta let it cool down before I cut it. I kind of oil soaked it a little bit tonight too, to see if there'd be any difference. So meaning I put a lot of oil in the pan before I put the batter in. Usually I use less oil. But that's the one meal a day. This looks so good. This looks good too. And again, half raw, half cooked, all raw. Juices are raw. And the protein powder mix is kind of a mix of stuff. You just want to eat as raw as you can, and plant material. You can use a small knife if it's doughy, but if you crisp it up, break out a nice big knife and go right down the middle so you can see how beautiful that looks. And how beautiful that looks. Still really hot to touch. Too hot to touch it. Oh man. This blows away flour tortillas bought from the store or even homemade. This bread is awesome. And that tomato, basil, fake chicken, what else? The salt, the pepper, the green onion, the red onion scape. It is awesome. I mean, that's something you serve in a restaurant right there. That is just awesome. Totally way better than a normal quesadilla flour, no matter who makes it, because it's just so blah. This is just so good. It looks good and it tastes awesome. It's so fresh. It's still hot too. I barely could have touched it, but it's awesome. So that's the meal. All right, hold on 1 second. Again, I cook for a long time. I take recipes, I make them into my own. I take my own and do them from scratch. And it's just great. So learn to make your own stuff. It's prideful, it's awesome, it's fresh. Grow your own food and everything like that. This is awesome. I mean, that might be the best tasting one I made in different flavors, different ones I've been experimenting with as far as the insides go. All right? This is, I guess you can call it an Italian style one. It doesn't have like cilantro or anything like that in it. It's got the basil and stuff. It's really, really good. And the pepper in there, the fresh red, orangey yellow pepper is real awesome in there. All right? Lots of love to you all. Get inspired. Leave any comments, any advice, or say, hey, I made it and it tasted awesome, just like you said. I love you. Bye.